Narayana. Hari Om and good morning from Niagara Falls. Yesterday, a group of us ran the Cleveland Half Marathon. The half marathon is 13.1 miles or 21 kilometers. And this takes around 2 hours. When you run 2 hours, it's not the body that gets tired, but it's the mind that gets tired from the same repetitive motion again and again and again for 20,000 steps. So along the race route, there was actually signs that were posted by the organizers, and I wanted to share with you some of the signs that were posted. One of the signs said, 16 weeks ago, you thought this was a good idea. Then there was another sign that said, toenails are overrated. And my favorite sign was, life is short. Running makes it seem longer. And as I read these signs as I was running, and it's hot and you're thirsty and you're hungry, I actually laughed out loud. And when I laughed out loud, I found myself to have more energy, or maybe I just forgot about the torture that I subjected myself to. Now think, I went from running thought to laughing thought, and just that thought changed my mood entirely. Yes? Now imagine I, you, us, we're able to have divine thoughts. Whenever we're feeling shaken, we have a divine thought that my nature is joy, or that we are all one. If a worldly thought can change me so much, imagine how much a divine thought can change me. And if I keep being steady and sincere with these divine thoughts, this turns into a divine vision then. And the divine vision is that of Rama. Rama inside, which means joy, and Rama outside, which is sharing that joy. Not just feeling the joy, but sharing that joy. That is a divine vision. And what better time to appreciate this divine vision than right now, as we are in the middle of Navaratri. And in the middle of Navaratri, we're presently worshipping Mother Lakshmi. The word Lakshmi does not mean gold. The word Lakshmi does not mean wealth. The word Lakshmi means Lakshya. Lakshya means goal. Lakshya means ends. Lakshya means purpose. If we truly worship Mother Lakshmi or become Mother Lakshmi, then we will have divine thoughts of Rama. We will have the divine vision of Rama. Celebrating Navaratri is not about staying up late and enjoying Garba. Right? Then we've taken Lakshmi to mean gold and wealth. See, it's become about pleasure instead of peace. And isn't it that the majority of us, that's all our interpretation is? We know the Ramayana, but we don't know the Vedanta in Ramayana. Coming back to what we studied last week. Nijagrahat turnam vinirgamyatam. Nijagrahat turnam vinirgamyatam. Does anyone know where you've heard that before? When in doubt, say Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, correct? Because it's the largest Upanishad, it must be in there. This is actually from Sadhana Panchakam, a profound text by Acharya Shankara. And he shares with his disciples, he's sharing with us, you should escape from the bondage of home. Now, if you take the literal meaning of that, then we should all run away from home, correct? When we teach this to young adults and high school students, run away from home. Tell me, where do you live? Do you live in Milwaukee? Do you live in Morgantown? Where do we live really? In the body and in the mind. That's why we say we play mind games. Those games aren't happening outside. Those games I'm playing with myself. And so when Bhagavan Rama asks Valmiki, where should I live? Valmiki goes on to say, you should live wherever one's heart is pure. And how the heart becomes pure is when we listen to Bhagavan's glories, we see Bhagavan all around us, we serve the Lord and those who do the Lord's work. This is a profound part of Ramayana, and we were unable to study this completely, each of these 14 places to live. So I want you to do your self-study. This whole teaching began in this 128th section of Chopais, and this was the second Chopai. And this went on to the Doha of the 131st section of Chopais. Please put in the effort to find out how to live more purely, so Bhagavan Rama, who's already living there, but will notice that he's living there, will benefit by him living there. And to really summarize this, I'll share a small story with you. A great saint from Maharashtra, his name is Sant Tukaram. And he really had Bhagavan Rama living in all of these 14 abodes in himself, his ears, his eyes, his mouth, and so on. And so as he was dying, as his body was dying, then Bhagavan Rama's messengers, or Bhagavan Narayana's messengers, had come to ask him what he wanted before he died. And Sant Tukaram said, what are you doing here? And they said, you've engaged in so much sadhana, so much remembrance of Bhagavan that we have to give you something. And so he said, what I want from you is for you to go away and not come back. And not ask me what I want. That he has Bhagavan Rama in him. He's experiencing joy. What desire can there be in a worldly way then? No. And that was the last home that we had studied, was for someone who has, I'll read the line too because it's so meaningful. He who wants nothing at any moment and bears natural affinity to you, referring to Rama, incessantly dwell in his mind, for that is your own home. That is the 14th abode, is someone who's content. After that, we studied how Sumantra slowly and sadly reached Raja Dasharatha. And if you think of Sumantra's journey, when Bhagavan Rama left Ayodhya, then the people in Ayodhya were weeping, but the people in the forest were rejoicing, wasn't it? And you fast forward to the end of Ramayana, the people of the forest start to weep, and the people in Ayodhya start to rejoice. Isn't that the nature of Dvaita, the nature of duality, that when I'm crying, you're laughing, when you're laughing, when you're crying, I'm laughing. And knowing that's the nature of Dvaita, that's the nature of the world, why procrastinate in trying to go deeper than the world? One of the common problems people tell me about, especially working in a nonprofit field like we are all in, is people not liking us, being self-conscious about public opinion, and on and on and on. And my first remark to people is, even if you do all that is right, half the world is going to like you, and half the world is going to dislike you. Isn't it? If I spend too much time on Ramayana, you'll say, hey, he doesn't spend any time on Vedanta. I spend too much time on Vedanta, hey, he doesn't spend any time on Ramayana, correct? So that's why I'm not concerned about public opinion. I just study Ramayana for myself. That's such a valuable teaching because you'll see, and today will be a most sad class, Raja Dasharatha was procrastinating. Instead of working hard and smart to stay alive to re-welcome Bhagwan Rama, he gave up. He didn't work hard. He didn't work smart. Whereas his wives did. They worked hard. They worked smart. They got to see Bhagwan Rama once again. So today, if Bhagwan Rama, if we can't feel him, work hard, work smart, don't procrastinate. In procrastinating, we only further that joy. Yes? One of the biggest complaints that parents have about their kids, high school kids, university kids, is procrastination, isn't it? Which is really a form of laziness, which is a form of tamas. And if a student procrastinates with an exam, procrastinates with an application, it's not healthy, but it's not so serious. I actually feel our procrastination is much more unhealthy and much more serious, is we procrastinate on happiness, isn't it? We finish school, we have jobs, but are we any happier? We may as well not finish school and not have a job and still be equally as unhappy. We continue. I am now reaching that sad part I was telling you about. This is the 155th section of Chaupais. We're in Ayodhya Kanda, for those who want to follow along. And I am going to read the dohas, and these are famous dohas I'm sure you've heard before. Rama Rama kahi Rama kahi, Rama Rama kahi Ram. Tanu pari hari ragu bara bera hau, Rao Gyayau Suradham. This is Raja Dasharatha, and what did he say? Rama Rama kahi, Rama kahi, Rama Rama kahi, Ram. And saying this, Raja Dasharatha left his body and reached heaven. And right from the start, if you count how many times in this 155th section of Chaupais, the Doha, how many times Ram is said by Raja Dasharatha? 6. And so one commentator said, it's been 6 days since Raja Dasharatha saw Bhagwan Rama, and he just couldn't bear it anymore, and he left his body. Okay, so I'll elaborate. Bhagwan Rama has found his home in Chitrakuta, and he spent the majority of his 14 years living in Chitrakuta. So if you ever get a chance to go to Bharata, and you're looking for where to go to Chitrakuta. Bhagwan spent maximum time in Chitrakuta. And while there, Bhagwan Rama looked after Mother Sita and Sri Lakshmana like it was Ayodhya. And those two looked after Bhagwan Rama like he was with his father. They all looked after each other so lovingly. The people in the forest looked after Bhagwan Rama and everyone. Bhagwan Rama looked after the people in the forest. It's shared that every stone Bhagwan Rama touched, that stone became free. Not just Ahalya. And that shows us at a Vedantic level, stones, plants, animals, and humans are all existence, awareness, joy. There's just more covering to a stone than there is to a human. But that potential is still there. And who are we to doubt the power of the infinite? Can't the infinite take a stone and make that divine? When Sumantra had reached, and we left Bhagwan Rama there, and we shifted to Sumantra, when he reached Raja Dasharatha, and Raja Dasharatha was disheveled on the ground, Sumantra says to Raja Dasharatha, be responsible. Because if our king is in this condition, what will happen to the wives, to the mothers, the queens? What will happen to the princesses? What will happen to Bharata, Shatrughna, the citizens? Sumantra is telling Raja Dasharatha to be responsible. And later on, Mother Kaushalya says the same. Be responsible. And interspersed in all of this, they talk about how Bhagwan Rama is responsible, that he misses Raja Dasharatha just as much, isn't it? But he's going about his dharma in the forest. And though Raja Dasharatha is given this advice by his minister, by his wife, in his last moments he recollects and shares with Mother Kaushalya the story of Shravana Kumara. How many of you have heard of the story of Shravana Kumara? Raja Dasharatha, if you open his name, Dasharatha means the one who can ride 10 chariots with equal efficiency. So though we discourage multitasking, he's able to do it. Or he can take his chariot in 10 directions, the 8 cardinal directions, and above and below. And one day he was hunting. And for all of you who have listened to me speak about this before, the spirit of Kali, the spirit of selfishness, one of the places Kali lives is violence. And hunting is a form of violence. And Raja Dasharatha, kings are not supposed to engage in violence, leave alone ordinary people like us. But you find so many kings, that's what they do, isn't it? And I'm not saying anything about the countries like America and North Korea. I'm only talking about back in the day with Raja Dasharatha. He's hiding behind a tree, and he believes he's so capable that he's able to shoot an animal even without seeing an animal. And he hears this gurgling sound like an animal at a water hole, and shoots without seeing. And when he shoots, he hears the cry of a human being. And when he goes over there, he sees Shravana, a young boy. That's why we say Shravana Kumara. And Shravana Kumara is dying, and he has no negativity against Raja Dasharatha. Raja Dasharatha feels horrible, but he says, it's okay. You are the king. You made a mistake. But what you can do for me is I was bringing this water to my blind parents. Please bring this water to them. So Raja Dasharatha does bring this water to his blind parents. And people who can't see tend to be able to hear better. And they know that their son didn't come. They asked, who are you? Why are you here? And Raja Dasharatha has to explain. And they're so hurt by the death of their son, especially being blind and living in the forest, that they can't help but curse Raja Dasharatha that the same way you've broken our heart by forcing our son away, you will experience the same heartbreak by your son being forced away. And that's what Raja Dasharatha remembers. He tells Mother Kaushalya, and it's so funny that he didn't remember at all till that moment of high tension. And then his body dies. Let's bring some Vedanta into this kata. I had shared with you that in the forest, everyone looked after each other. The forest of Chitrakuta and various other forests in Bharata were not just plagued by the forest life. Forest dwellers know how to live in the forest, but they were plagued by the Rakshasas, correct? Because Ravana, that negativity is radiating farther and farther. So with Bhagwan Rama there, he's assuring them of protection. So they can go about their daily affairs, and they can go about, now for us, our sadhana. Whenever you engage in sadhana, whenever you engage in rituals like puja, whenever you engage in shravana like we're doing, listening, we have to ask the Lord for protection. And that's what we do. We chant opening prayers, correct? Bhagwan is the one who protects our sadhana. And if you think about this more deeply, Bhagwan is not just the one who will protect our sadhana. Bhagwan is the one who will take us to our sadhya. Because finally we have to develop humility, correct? Na mama, we say. That it's not me who is contemplating. Correct? Even that thought has to fall off. That it is Bhagwan who's engaged in this sadhana. Bhagwan will reveal himself or herself as Bhagwan's Leela goes. That level of humility has to be invoked, that Bhagwan, you protect me, Bhagwan, you carry me. Like Sri Ramakrishna describes, you can be like a baby monkey or a baby cat. A baby monkey, when a mother is crossing from one side of a section and crossing a log to get to the other side, what does that monkey do? Holds on to the neck of that monkey. What does a cat do? That kitten is like Vyasa, just is plopped over there, right? Vyasa is not strong enough to lift himself, hold on to Sheila or I. So that cat just plops itself there, and the mother puts that cat in its mouth and carries that kitten across. That's what we call as humility. That's what we call as sharanagati, or surrender. So this was Bhagwan Rama, the Vedanta of Bhagwan Rama's kata, going to Raja Dashatha. Now, did Raja Dashatha get enlightenment? Because he's chanting Rama at the end. Did Raja Dashatha receive enlightenment when the body dropped? He did not. Because if you remember, Bhagwan Rama, when he was still Bhagwan Vishnu, Manu, who became Raja Dashatha, said, I want to see you as my son. It was Shatarupa, his mother, who said, I want to see you as my son, and I want you to also stay as Bhagwan for me. So Raja Dashatha got Bheda Mukti, which means he was freed to a higher place, but there was still this separation, the Bheda, so Dvaita. He was not enlightened. In the text, it says he went to Indra's kingdom. He went to heaven. When Raja Dashatha's body died, you know how sad everyone was? In the text, it says even sadness became sad. Now, if you can just try to feel that or visualize that, even sorrow couldn't handle the sorrow. And who came onto the scene to lift everyone up and to move everyone? Rishi Vashishta. He came and ordered the ministers to take Raja Dashatha's body and put it in a boat and fill it with oil to embalm the body. And then he called all of the ministers, all of the queens, and said, our next plan of action is to bring back Sri Bharata. And so that's where we move to next. I'm on the 171st section of Chopais, 171. I'm reading the second Chopai, the second line. Bharatahu Bashishta Nikata Baithare Niti Dharmamaya Bachana Uchare. What this line says is that sitting in the assembly, Raja Rishi Vashishta was there, and near him was Sri Bharata. And at that time, Rishi Vashishta started to talk about Niti, how to run the kingdom, and Dharma Niti, how to run the kingdom well. But how did we get here? The ministers rode fast to where Bharata and Shatrughna were. Where were they, by the way? They're at their Mother Kaikei's parents' home. And even before the ministers got there, Sri Bharata felt like something was wrong. He could just feel it within himself. So sensitive to Bhagwan Rama. And so he asked the Brahmanas to, come in and receive food and gifts to please them, to feed the cows, to, create more worship areas. Bharata could sense that something was wrong. And when those ministers came and the message was, Rishi Vashishta is calling you, he immediately came back to Ayodhya. And when he walked into Ayodhya, people were looking at him very funny. Some people were looking at him and staring at him, thinking he was part of the conspiracy, isn't it? Now he's supposed to become the king. Some people didn't look at him because they knew that Sri Bharata could never want what has happened to happen, that if they looked at him, Sri Bharata would ask, "Why are you all so sad?" And they would have to explain to Sri Bharata what had happened, and they didn't want anything to do with that. Don't we do the same? When we don't like someone, we don't look at them, or we stare at them. And if you don't want to engage in a hard conversation, just look down and go the other way. And when Sri Bharata comes, who does he go see first? Mother Kaikeyi. And she's dressed up in her finest. Everyone else, it says, looks like a ghost, like a pishacha. If any of you watch The Walking Dead or any such shows, zombies, okay? Zombies came from our Shastras, all described here. But she's dressed like she's been eating forever. And she comes with her Aarti Thali. You know, we've had many weddings here at Chinmaya Dhara, and when the groom comes, we offer Aarti. That's what she's doing. When Raja Dasharatha just died, Bhagwan Rama's exiled for 14 years. And she goes on, he asks, "Where is my father? Where is my brothers? Where is my sister-in-law?" And she says, "I've done a great favor to you." It's sad, but it's also laughable to say that. You will become the king. Your father's gone to heaven. She says in one line, your father's gone to heaven, your brother's gone to the forest. You will become the king. And he exchanges such harsh dialogue with her. The one poetic example I'll share with you. He says to her, "It's like you've plucked a leaf from a healthy tree and now you're just watering that leaf. That I was part of this tree with Dasharatha and Rama and we were all so healthy. Now you've taken one leaf and you're watering that and patting yourself on the back." And he says, if you were going to be like this, why did you give birth to me? If you were going to choose this, why didn't you give birth to me and then kill me? You have to feel this dialogue, especially those who are parents, for that dialogue to make, that intensity. And he says, enough of Mother Kaikeyi. He goes to Mother Kaushalya. And the exact opposite dialogue happens. She's so loving to him. He's so loving to her. She's saying, we know that you could never have been part of this. He says that if I've been part of this, may I die right now. And this dialogue happens. And so bringing some of our Vedanta into this Ramayana part. Remember I said Bharata knew that something was wrong. That's called sensitivity. If I can use another word for that, it is ahimsa. Ahimsa doesn't just mean non-violence at a physical level. Ahimsa means another person has a body, a mind, an intellect. They have a family, they have a society. Being aware of all of those dimensions of another person. A sensitive person never engages in himsa. Sri Bharata's, his heart is filled with Bhagwan Rama. In other words, he's content. He's sensitive to any sorrow. You and I, we've become desensitized to sorrow, isn't it? So much negativity in our lives, but it doesn't shake us at all because we're just so lost in that. Swami Tejamayana has shared, we've fallen so many times, we feel our nature is fallen. Yes. It's like someone who's really unhealthy for so long, health is a surprise to them. And Sri Bharata knew this. And I'll tell you how we should be with this. Madhusudana Saraswati said, only a fool forbears sorrow. Only a fool forbears sorrow. We should be like an eyeball. See, if you even have a small piece of dust that gets in your eye, immediately you close, you wash, it's such a concern for you. That's how we should be with sorrow. There is no place for sorrow in our lives when our nature is Ananda. And shifting this to the dialogue of Kaikeyi and Kaushalya, Remember I said how KK looks. She's focused on pleasure, isn't it? Eating. She's focused on possessions, how she's dressed. And most of all, she's focused on position. With Sri Bharata being the king, what does she become? The Prathama Rani. She becomes the queen of the queens. But was she able to create peace for her or for anyone? Mother Kaushalya is in her she's looking unhealthy, simple clothing, is thinking about her husband. But she was able to create peace for Sri Bharata. So for us, what our focus is. What did you do this week? Did you live like Mother Kaikeyi or did you live like Mother Kaushalya? Just like we always say, Bhagavad Gita is happening right now between the mind and the intellect, between Arjuna and Bhagavan Krishna. Don't think Ramayana is any different. Mahabharata is an itihasa, Ramayana is an itihasa also. Okay? Narayana.